Item 24, Petition 0456/2025 by Domènec Ruiz Devesa, a Spanish citizen on behalf of a Union of European Federalists on reforming the Treaty of Lisbon. I understand the petitioner is present in the room.
You, Mr. Petitioner.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Also to all the members of the PETI Committee and to the coordinators that, alongside with you, the Chair, have supported the hearing on our petition. Dear Chair Ronska, and also, of course, many thanks as well to some of the MEPs that are present in the room to support us, like Andrea Wechsler, Brando Benifei, and Raquel García Van der Walle. On behalf of our organization, I would like to express our position on this topic. This petition is a call to action in a moment of existential urgency for the European Union. The EU faces an increasingly unstable world. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia, the conflict in the Middle East, and the emergence of an axis between undemocratic and illiberal regimes have exposed the fragility of our Union. This underscores the need for a stronger and united Europe, capable of speaking with one voice, particularly in foreign affairs, security and defence, and therefore able to act decisively. The reports by Letta, Draghi and Ninisto made it clear. We are currently unable to provide for our own security and to maintain our competitiveness on the global stage. This failure risks undermining the very achievements that define the European social model, including the rule of law and the safeguarding of fundamental rights. The root of this problem lies in the current European Union's inability to act united, particularly regarding the unanimity rule in a number of important policy fields, as mentioned, foreign policy, security and defence, but not only. The European Parliament adopted a resolution on the 22nd of November of 2023, which was a critical step toward addressing these issues by proposing amendments to the Treaty of Lisbon in accordance to the reform procedure foreseen in the treaty itself, Article 48. However, more than 2.5 years later, the European Council has yet to reply to this proposal by the European Parliament, which, in our view, this constitutes a violation of the reform procedure of Article 48, but also a violation of the principle of loyal and sincere cooperation between EU institutions. Therefore, we consider that this is a matter of particular interest to the European Parliament, who proposed this reform. It is also a question, of course, of defence of the prerogatives of the European Parliament. And in the end, I like to conclude my part before giving the floor to my colleague, the Secretary General of the UEF, Mathilde Baudouin, that it is not acceptable that member states appear to fear more losing the capacity to block a common decision than the world of dangers that we live in, including Mr. Putin. Thank you.
The European Parliament is the only institution directly elected by its citizens, the European citizens, and its proposals that are actually in continuity with the demands from the Conference on the Future of Europe must not be ignored. This is not simply a procedural issue. In recent months, citizens have increasingly voiced their support for a stronger, united Europe, for even a common European defence, as reflected in all the latest Eurobarometer surveys. They have repeatedly called for an end of the veto, demanding a union that can act decisively and democratically. We are facing a crisis of both democracy and accountability. If the EU is to defend democracy globally, it must show the example at home. Since we submitted our petition in April 2025, the Parliament has reaffirmed its commitment to treaty change and called again the European Council to act, namely through two very important moments. First, the resolution adopted on October 22, 2025 on the institutional consequences of EU enlargement negotiations, which reiterates the call to open a convention under Article 48 of the Treaty of the European Union. Second, the resolution adopted on November 25, 2025 on the institutional aspects of the Draghi report, which urges the European Council to respond to the Parliament's request and ask both the Commission and the European Council to outline precise steps towards reform. We care deeply about the European project and its citizens, and we know you do as well. Therefore, we respectfully ask this committee to, first, keep the petition open and ensure it remains a priority. Second, ask the President Metsola to send a formal letter to the European Council. Third, request an implementation report in the Constitutional Affairs Committee to track progress. And finally, to address this matter in the context of the MFF negotiations and the 2027 budget, using the Parliament power of the purse to pressure the European Council into action. The EU finally needs to listen to its citizens and to take the bold steps that are needed to secure its future. Thank you.
Okay. Now, teraz Komisja Europejska.
Now the European Commission Secretary General, who is representing. All right.
Dear Chair, honourable members, dear Mr. Ruiz Devesa, I can be very short or very brief. The Parliament's resolution from 22nd of November 2023 with proposals for treaty change activated the treaty revision procedure in Article 48 of the Treaty on European Union. On 18th of December 2023, the Council sent the Parliament's proposals to the European Council and informed the national parliaments in accordance with the procedure laid down in Article 48, paragraph 2 of the treaty. In line with the treaty, it's for the European Council to decide on the next steps. The Commission stands ready to fully play its institutional role in the procedure as set out in Article 48 of the treaty, and in particular to give its opinion if and when consulted by the European Council. Many thanks.
Dziękuję.
Thank you.
Madam Wechsler, on behalf of EPP.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would like to thank the petitioner, Mr. Domènec Devesa, as well as his General Secretary, Mathilde Baudouin, and the Union of European Federalists for bringing this very important institutional question before our committee. The petition addresses a matter of clear relevance for the European Parliament. The follow-up to Parliament's resolution on the 22nd of November 2023 on the amendment of the treaties and the responsibilities of the Parliament of the European Council under Article 48. Parliament has exercised its prerogatives. The European Council is therefore expected to examine Parliament's proposal and to engage substantively with the revision process. This is not only a political expectation, but also a question of sincere cooperation and respect for the institutional balance of the Union. From the EPP side, we share the view that the Council's response has so far not been sufficient. The European Parliament should continue to insist that its proposals are treated seriously and that there is clarity on the way forward. For today, the right signal is clear. We should not close this file. We should keep the petition open, maintain public dialogue with the petitioners, and ensure that this issue remains on the agenda in our dialogue with the Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, on behalf of S&D, Mr. Dîncu.
I speak in Romanian. Domnule președinte, îi mulțumesc.
Chair, I would like to thank the petitioner because they have brought up a very important topic for us and for the AFCO committee. In the previous mandate, the Parliament considered put the reform of the treaties at the centre of its priorities, and the AFCO report invited the Parliament to reopen the treaties, but this remained just a symbol of optimism and not the start of a concrete reform. But I'd like to underline that unlike this apparent blockade, constitutional reform of the EU has continued at a rapid pace. The European Court of Justice ruled in 2 reference cases on foreign relations the opposition of the previous Hungarian government to certain measures of common security, foreign and security policy showed that we need more of flexibility in the Council, and this shows that despite the Council's silence, the dynamic that requires the amendment of the treaties is very relevant, and the report proposals from AFCO are legitimate and ambitious, and the Parliament needs to be the initiator of this. We need to build up new political enthusiasm that through time will evolve into political capital for reforming the treaties, but there is a lack of appetite for change. But recently we've seen a lot of initiatives that support rapid reforms of the constitutional architecture. For example, the Ministry of Defense in Germany on the 7th of May had an important discussion in Berlin and said that we need to abandon the unanimity rule, qualified majority is being used more and more, and there's a lot of expectations from current and future candidate countries that want to be part of a coherent and a future union. And this was our expectation when Romania acceded. And in the context of a more and more intense debate, I think we need to keep the prospect for institutional reform open. The new additions and the reform can go hand in hand. Every day there are new changes that promote treaty reform, and I suggest that this petition comes to AFCO and this could be debated in more depth there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we have Renew. Madame García? Hermida?
Thank you, Chair. You said it very well. Thanks a lot. Thank you to the petitioners. It is a great pleasure and an honor to listen to your presentation today, and also to see a lot of members of the Spinelli Group. For those of you who might not know us, we are the people fighting for federal Europe here in the European Parliament. But we're mostly, and that's what brings us to the subject of today, the people fighting for a Europe which is able to defend its sovereignty. It's the people fighting for a Europe which is able to defend our people. It is the ones fighting for a Europe which really can face the challenges of the 21st century and the geopolitical situation. So I think this petition is very timely, and I think the Commission and, of course, the Member States should reply in a suitable manner, in an adequate manner, to the demands of this European Parliament from 2023 to open up the treaties, to reform, to ensure that our treaties are fit for purpose, that they can take us into the future and they don't stop us from achieving the goals that we are trying to achieve with each other. I think it's extremely important that this petition remains open. I would like to support that call. And I would also like to make a call to all colleagues in the European Parliament to ensure that we are able and willing to use the biggest power that we have in this House, which is the power of the budget. So again, thank you so much to the petitioners, to the organisers of this action, and again, all encouragement to keep it open for the time being. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Farantouris.
Chair, thank you. Ως μέλος της ομάδας Σπινέλη και του Διοικητικού της Συμβουλίου,
Thank you very much. I would like to say I support the need to revise the treaties. I would also support the fact that the bodies within the European institutions have to be consistent. What I mean by that is that they themselves should have taken initiatives after the decision from the European Parliament. But unfortunately, we've had silence from them. So I would just like to join my voice to those other colleagues who are more federalist in approach to have a complete completion of the EU. Thank you.
Bischoff.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and I would also like to thank the petitioners for this initiative, and I would like to highlight again that, and I was one of the different rapporteurs of the report on treaty changes, that we based this long work of all pro-European democratic political groups on the work of 800 randomly selected citizens who came up with proposals. So it's very much based, developed from the ground, then up to this House. And therefore, it is very important also indeed to keep this petition open and ongoing. But I think also we could do a little bit more. So I would like to propose and ask you as chair of this honorable committee to also take up this petition, also to write a letter, for example, to the Council President, and also emphasizing again how important it is for this House, how important it is for the petitioners that we keep this road not only open, but that we go down, especially to have a Europe that is capable to act for its citizens. Thank you very much.
Next, Mr. Benifei.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, congratulations to Domènec, Devesa and the Union of European Federalists for their commitment in keeping the debate on the reform of the treaties alive through this petition and all this effort that I think is extremely timely. At a moment of unprecedented geopolitical challenges, Europe will either be federal or it will not be at all. Europeans through this Parliament have already spoken. Following the conference on the future of Europe in 2022 and 2023, we adopted resolutions calling for a convention and for treaty change. Today, those who advocate for European disintegration, certain political parties, say that the Parliament's position on the treaty reform belongs only to a previous and different legislature. I want to clarify this because this is factually wrong. The AFCO report on the institutional aspects of the Draghi report, which I followed as rapporteur and which was adopted by a large majority of this Parliament in November 2025, recognized a simple reality. Europe cannot achieve its objectives on innovation, decarbonisation and defence without targeted treaty reform. So, in a different legislature, again, the same political message from this Parliament. So the question now is what follow-up we need to give. So in my view, we must continue the effort launched by Parliament to open a convention and advance the treaty revision process under Article 48 of the Treaty of the European Union. This means reminding the European Council of its responsibilities under the treaties, including through a new plenary resolution, calling for meaningful follow-up to Parliament's proposals. Then Parliament should be prepared to use its budgetary powers to ensure that its treaty reform initiative is taken seriously and not ignored. We should also bring this debate to national parliaments across the Union, encouraging member states to discuss Parliament's proposals and place treaty reform back on the agenda of the European Council. Finally, if the deadlock persists, we should not exclude pursuing legal action before the Court of Justice. So let me conclude in the line of what I just said, that this petition should remain open until such time as the European Council has substantively addressed the Parliament's proposal and announced the procedural path forward to finally deal with these very important issues. Thank you very much.
Mr. Reuten, No, Mr. Aguilar, yes, please.
Well, first of all, I always, when it comes to the Petitions Committee, I always thank the petitioners because they are exerting a fundamental right on their own to begin with. It's a fundamental right enshrined in the Charter and in the Treaty of Functioning of the European Union to begin with. Second, as to the substance, if we follow the Eurobarometer parameters, we can only conclude that most of European citizens clearly favor stronger, more united, more capable EU. We honestly, of course, question about the equipment of our institutions as they are by now in order to deliver their stronger, more united, more capable European Union. So time again, it comes to the unanimity in the Council, paralyzing EU action, allowing national vetoes to block common solutions, weakening the Union's credibility outside and within, precisely when unity matters most. And that challenge can only grow with enlargement. That's absolutely clear. Strengthening a union politically, economically, and geopolitically, meaning that we need to reinforce the EU capacity to deliver in an unstable world, bringing about our commitment to peace and prosperity. The European Parliament has done its part of the job. We actually set in motion an initiative to bring about and trigger the process of treaty revision. We did it in the past mandate of the European Parliament, 2023. And yet, instead of engaging with Parliament's proposal, the Council has chosen silence so far. European asking stronger Europe and the Council in silence. Treaty reform is not an option. It's indispensable. So I can only conclude that we need, for that reason, first, to keep this petition alive, deserving better attention on its merits, welcoming the opportunity to discuss it today with the European Federalists. But having said this, I only stress also the importance of fully involving the Constitutional Affairs Committee, which is the one in charge of treaty revision, ensuring that it is invited to deliver an opinion on the matter. So I support the petition. I welcome the European Federalists to calling for our attention on the matter. I remind that we have actually activated the treaty reform on the side of the European Parliament, expecting for a response for the Council, stating that silence should not be an option, and I ask for the involvement of the Constitutional Affairs Committee, ensuring that it is invited to deliver an opinion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now we go back to Mr. Petitioner. 2 minutes for your last conclusion.
Mr. Perez.
Oh, sorry. Mr. Perez, yes, of course.
Señor Presidente.
Okay. I very attentively read the documents that back up this position, and although I don't want to replace our interpreters, I'd just like to translate a little bit what's here. And what they're really asking for is for the treaty amendments to take place without unanimity. So they want to remove unanimity so that only a qualified majority is required to modify these treaties. So translation, they want to remove the veto right of all of the members of the EU Parliament. This was already voted on in November 2023, and when it comes to foreign policy, and it means that Spain or Germany or any other country cannot make use of our free will, and things can be imposed on us. We may have to fight in a war that we don't want to, and everyone who's expressed their opinion that I respect say that this will improve democracy, but I don't think is the case. It'll just bury democracy. So I think the only option here is a challenge or obedience. It means that people who've never set foot in our country can make laws for us. And I think this is completely surreal. And in 2005, France and the Netherlands voted against a European constitution, but they repainted this and they renamed it Treaty of Lisbon, and this was voted in. I think this is even more dangerous. And not even the states that are subservient to von der Leyen dare to challenge her. And that 10, 15 years ago, there was a guy here who was very federalist, and he received money for his expenses. And 10, 15 years ago, I have to say that I'm no longer a federalist. It's not that I don't like the EU. I love the EU. But this is looking more and more like the Soviet Union, where every time there's a problem, there's more and more bureaucratic control from Brussels that's called for, and instead of democracy. So I'm deeply concerned, and I'm only asking that if you're going to do this, you're going to eliminate the right to veto. You make it very clear to Europe what you're actually asking for, because this complicated jargon that doesn't make it clear what you're saying really worries me. And as this is absolutely harmful to the basic rights in Europe and democracy and the right to of member states to have their say. Thank you.
No, thank you. 2 minutes for you, Mr. Petitioner.
Thank you very much, dear Chair. Once again, many thanks to all the MEPs that have participated in the petition, in the hearing, and that have provided support to keep it open. Also thanks to, as I said before, to the coordinators, to Sandra Gomez in particular, that tabled the petition to the coordinators, to the proposal. Maybe just very quick observations, of course, also regarding the last MEP's comments. The majority of the legislation in the EU is already adopted in the procedure by qualified majority voting, so it's not that we have, thankfully, right to veto on everything already, so we're just proposing to use a democratic procedure in all policies. And then maybe one remark also for the Commission, that I slightly disagree when the Commission said if and when the European Council asks for the consultation, because there is no if in the Article 48. So in any case, it's when, but not if. And then, of course, the Commission has to provide its opinion as it is established in Article 48. I agree with what has been said, that the Parliament has several tools to move this file forward, including the power of the budget, including going to the Court of Justice, acting with a report from the AFCO committee. And indeed, this is a very crucial point, and with this I end, that by definition, the petition has to remain open until there is a reply from the European Council. Thank you very much, and I also allow, it's okay like that. Okay, we conclude here. Once again, many thanks to all the colleagues present.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Aguilar, we have an opinion from AFCO. We have, and the petition remains open. It's okay for you. You understand. All is very clearly. Okay. It is from my side last sentence because.
Any other business?
Any other business from you? No. If not, that I would like to invite you to next month, on July we have our next meetings. Thank you so much, all participants. Dziękuję bardzo naszym.
I would like to thank our interpreters and everyone who marched along full day long, and see you in July at the PETI session. Thank you.